the acorn, if you like, at the beginning of it all, and how has your job there changed in terms of the football that you digest and in terms of the football comment that you're asked to give?
I think I was quite lucky. Sky actually approached me when just as I was finishing playing, to ask me if I'd do a midweek soccer special, as it was at the time. And I'd watched the show a bit, and I thought I quite enjoyed watching it, and I thought, yeah, that sounded like good fun. I'll have a little go at that. Had no media training whatsoever. Sky didn't think to actually do any training, so it was literally chuck you in front of the camera and see how you go. I was quite lucky. I was very comfortable in front of the cameras, and the only thing I was worried about was having come from 17 years in the football changing room where every other word is fuck. To then sit on the television and not say that word. So I think in terms of the changes that happened, I think you've had to become a little bit more politically correct. You have to be very careful about what words you use, because there are situations where you will use something completely innocently, can be taken completely the wrong way, and that's exactly the same on social media. You know, it's a precarious world where you're always one sentence away from being sacked. You've got to be careful. I'd say in terms of the journalism side of things, I echo what Phil said. I think the most important thing anybody can have is relationships with people, building contacts with people, building trust with people. That's what I found in my career. There were a handful of journalists who I felt I could trust. You know, and most of them are in this room as it happens. You know, if there's a story that has to be written and it's negative, if it's the truth, then you write it all day long, knowing that you're doing the right thing. You may upset them, but you know what? They'll respect you because they'll know it's the truth. Just all I'd say is don't abuse your contacts. If you've got good contacts and you've got a bad story about them, as long as you're 100% it's completely true, then by all means go about it. But build a trust with the people in that sport that you're covering, and I think that goes a heck of a long way.
And become a commentator is something you've got to build up towards. I actually started in local newspapers. I had a bit of a difficult time in my final year. I knew I wasn't going to get a great degree, so I was very keen to get a job as the moment I left uni. Didn't even go to my graduation, because by then I was already working. And the South London Guardian, there were just two of us. Phil, you know Owen Phillips, so it was me and Owen. We did all the news, all the sports. Owen now writes the BBC website. And that year was just the most incredible grounding for me. Everything I'd learned on my degree, you know, right from law through to shorthand and everything, just came into its own. And I certainly would never have made a career in journalism without the degree I do. So a lot of badgering, a lot of hassling people, talking to people, as Phil said. I couldn't agree more with that. Don't just send an email. You actually need to physically talk to someone, because having that contact is what opens doors for
a few months. Matt and I are the same age, so we've come through a generation of the sport from the playing side that Phil and Jeremy have touched on it, that relationships, you know, the guys would have rocked up years ago and watched the training session, almost seen how a manager would set a team up on a Friday morning for the following day. They had access to the training grounds back then, and enjoy a training session, probably in the weather, good or bad, but then literally as we're walking off the training ground or off the pitch, would say any chance of a few words or comment about tomorrow or something like that. And you know, I think from our perspective, we've been lucky over the years that it's been touched on. The guys are in the room here now, that we got friendly with the guys. We trusted them, that word. I think it's no good walking out of this university now with a qualification and a degree. What else is going to make you different? What separates you from the competition? And that might be one, you know, any of you sat in here, sat alongside somebody. It was no different for us as players. You know, what qualities, what strengths have you got that you can bring to the industry? What is going to make you different to an employer that will take one of you compared to somebody sat alongside you? As I say, just having the degree alone is probably not good enough.
And off the record means off the record. I think that's a very important point just to make, that if somebody tells you something off the record and you don't, if you abuse that trust that they've given you once, nobody else will trust you, because that will spread like wildfire. So off the record means off the record.